Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live. Here with John Barrier Wilson. How are you?
Got it. Good. I got good rest last night.
Nice.
I think I'm ready to go.
Recovering from the jet lag?
Yeah, I think I'm there.
More
I
or less?
I'm good. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist at Adobe, joined by John, who's joining us for day 2 of Adobe Live. You just watched Erica and Melody, and a big hello to everyone joining us in magical Behance chat land, including Devin and Abdul and Tim. Paco's in the house, right over there, running the show. Bernadette, Marlon, Nathaniel, Garafi, Ariana. If I mispronounce anyone's name, I apologize. I do that quite often.
It's hard.
Yeah, and if you are tuning in live, let us know where you're joining from. We're in San Francisco right now. I think the rain is holding up. It was supposed to rain all week, but I haven't looked outside today, though.
Yesterday was beautiful. Today I got a little bit of rain on me, but
not too bad.
Surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So before we jump in, we have a few things going on. About half an hour into the stream, we're going to do chat and win. So one of you will win 100 stickers from stickermule.com, which is always fun. Then about half an hour before the stream ends, we're going to be taking a look at some challenge entries. And if you go to the challenge tab on Behance, you'll see all the details. But if you are taking part in the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge every single morning at 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever it is, you're able to submit any challenge that you think is really worthy of us taking a look at. And about half an hour before the stream ends, we will dive in. We got 2 people from Ghana. That's awesome. Peru and Los Angeles, super exotic. Morocco, Cape Town, South Africa, Connecticut, another Moroccan. Awesome. I love that. People from all over the place.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Thailand.
Yeah. So tell the good folks that are watching a little bit about yourself, what you do for a living, and what you covered yesterday and what you're planning on doing today.
Yeah. So I'm a freelance UX UI designer. I pretty much do everything from websites to kind of front-end development and then some mobile apps and web apps. And really enjoy doing that as, again, freelance. So any questions out there for that, I'm happy to answer. Yesterday, we kind of worked on a website, pretty basic. I had to get more comfortable to the streaming. I've never done a bit of streaming like this before.
You were great.
Well, thanks. So being able to get into a bit more of some mobile design today. I have a really cool app that I kind of wanted to add some features to that I think will be pretty cool.
I love that. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. So this is a little app called Balsa that I designed.
Salsa. Like salsa?
Kind of like salsa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just not as editable.
Yes, I think salsa would taste better than balsa. So this is a way to find some woodworking plants, basically. If you wanted to build a chair, a table, or a side table, or something.
Or a bowl for your salsa.
A bowl for your salsa. That'd probably be, sorry.
Run with it.
Run.
Don't question me, John.
Don't question it. So what I wanted to do was, this again was more or less just for a design exercise.
Okay.
So you could consider this kind of like the MVP, the original on the left here. So this is a screen that I just duplicated, so we have everything to work with, and I kind of wanted to add some features here. So let me get my checklist here. The first thing was kind of adding a search and an account kind of section to the app. And then we can get in some sort and filters, which you'll see like most recent, and instead of just browsing randomly in some categories and ways to organize the content a bit more.
Yeah.
So that's how we'll jump in there. And if we have some extra time, maybe we can animate some of it. Make it look
fancy.
Cool. Yeah.
How did you decide which features you're going to be tackling today?
So I just know from personal experience, like I love doing woodworking, and if I had this app, that's kind of what I was gauging it on.
Okay.
Was I would like to have a search in case I wanted to look at something very specific.
That's fair.
So, yeah. And generally the idea too, the context of the app was a place for people to create their own plans and sell them or share them with other people. So
that could be fun, yeah.
There might be, that kind of a thing later on, but just trying to keep the context of the app around in your mind as you're thinking
Totally.
about it. So.
And Marlon from the chat is asking, do you code or just do you design?
I do code.
Nice.
I do love coding, and in fact, I'll spend half of my time designing in code sometimes if I get stuck. Yesterday I got stuck. I felt like I got stuck pretty much. So jumping into code kind of helps ignite some more of that creative spark in there.
I might have to kick Tim out of the chat. He says, how do trees get online? They just log in.
That was a good one.
All right, Tim is getting kicked.
I love that. I love dad jokes.
I know. We're dads, so we have to.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to appreciate those jokes.
Yeah. So we'll just dive in here. Knowing that we want to add a search and account, there's two different areas that I was thinking we could add this. We could add it up here and to the left of the logo and make it kind of something that is kind of like a high-level feature, or we could add a typical tab bar down at the bottom,
right?
Like most apps have. As I'm thinking through it, I'm thinking that the top might be a stretch for thumbs. So I don't know if that is probably going to be the best idea, especially if someone's using it left-handed, one-handed while they're working on something.
Yeah, I find, because I've got the iPhone 10, and it's just about here I can get to.
Right.
And then there's the reachability mode, but half the time it doesn't work properly, but up there you gotta...
Yes, exactly. And I have fairly large hands,
Yeah.
so even for me it's hard. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and just add a little tab bar down here. And again, we're gonna be adding search and an account at least. And we'll also need an icon for the feed, the actual screen we're on right now. So let's go ahead and add that here. I usually like to add a little drop shadow just to create a bit of depth, since we have shadows on the cards going as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll get to this, but where do you get your icons from?
Sometimes I download them from guys that are sharing them on Instagram or other places, and then sometimes I'm making my own.
Oh, okay.
I thought it'd be fun to kind of get into Illustrator here and just quickly spin up some.
Yeah.
So basically, when I get to this point though, and I'm starting to work on these icons, I usually just add a little placeholder here.
Yeah.
Just so that I can see if that's something I want to spend my time on building out in Illustrator.
And if anyone is watching in the chat, if you have resources that you use to grab icons, whether it's the Noun Project or any of those other websites, throw them in the chat, because we always love seeing different places for lovely icons.
Yeah, definitely. We all love icons.
We do.
They're like our little candy.
I know. It's like icons and fonts. You just keep hoarding them.
Yes.
There needs to be a digital hoarders episode.
In fact, that would be I don't know if that would be a good idea.
I would watch it.
You would? Okay.
I would.
Okay. So I do like the kind of just the icons sitting there instead of the text. If we had some text below it might help with readability and kind of discoverability of different features. But at the same time, I don't know if that's something that would hinder the design of it. It's kind of a balance.
And if you have the right icons, you probably don't need the text.
Yes. Considering that it's going to be the feed, the main feed, that it's going to be a search and an account, those are very different types of features.
Right.
So that also helps. So we'll go ahead and just do that then, and we'll pop into Illustrator and just start building some out here.
Cool. Oh yeah, that's right. Fontpick.com was created by a previous Adobe Live guest.
Oh, very
guests.
cool.
Yeah.
Fontpick.com?
Yeah, P-I-K.
Oh. Let's see.
Oh, it changed. It redirected.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it's Fontpick, P-I-K.com.
Fontpik.com. There we go. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to come back to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out later.
Yeah. Cool. So usually when I get into Illustrator, we're not exporting, big pieces of artwork, so I just kind of hit whatever's piece out there.
I love the fact that you can copy and paste between XD and Illustrator.
Yes, certainly.
Super helpful.
And that's much better than most other tools because it's a family. It's all built together.
Yeah.
So you have a variety of things to work with.
Yep.
So we'll do just a basic feed here. Considering they're cards, I'm sure we could just kind of get away with, like 3 lines or something.
Good old hamburger menu.
Good old hamburger. And then, considering there was the image there, we could just kind of make it. There you go. So now we have a little feed icon. We'll kind of tweak this a little bit maybe. And generally setting up a grid here helps as well. Be able to keep the icons the same size. So let me just see what that looks like in here as far as size and there you go. Nice big borders.
Yep. And if you have to edit it back in XD, you can always do that because it is vector.
There you
go. David, I apologize. He's asking, how involved are your clients in the design and development of apps and websites?
Generally very involved, and that's how I like it for sure. I've done the mistake of creating something and being completely wrong and having wasted 40 hours on it. So
that's the last thing you want to do.
That's the last thing you want to do. So we'll do a basic search icon here.
Are hamburger menus appropriate from a UX perspective? That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
Because I think what I found is that a lot of app designers just throw a hamburger menu in just because they have some items that you want to throw in there.
Right.
My philosophy is if you have the space and you don't have a ton of, like some apps have just an absolute ton of menu items.
Right.
In that case, put them in some sort of a hamburger menu or some sort of a menu that slides out or is hidden.
A little bit, yeah.
If you have like 3 or 4 items, then you can probably create a navigation bar at the bottom like you're doing, or find somewhere to put them as long as it's not getting in the way of the user's day-to-day activities.
I would completely agree with that. And I know Facebook did a big study on that.
Oh, did they?
A couple of years ago, I think, and they found that the engagement level isn't nearly as good either.
Oh, okay.
Instead of a basic tab bar. So following those human interface guidelines that Apple put out for these tab bars, if you're designing for iOS, is very, very helpful because they've done that study before.
Tim says, as long as you don't write menu next to it. Yes. I thought you were designing BB-8 for a second.
Oh, no, that'd be
cool.
That would be a cool, if it was Star Wars themed. I don't know if it would be super appropriate here. But as you could tell, these are kind of pretty standard this time. And when you're doing icons yourself, you kind of have a chance to kind of create something that's a bit more unique.
Right.
So one thing that I really like to do is kind of just start separating things a little bit.
Ooh, now you're getting fancy.
So now you get a little bit of character in there. It still looks like a search icon. Maybe we could adjust the shapes a little bit. So we have a bit more shoulders or something.
Yeah. So these are, I would consider them fairly basic icons, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What would you like to see in Adobe XD to allow you to create things like this? Because you can create most of this in XD.
Right.
But obviously you feel more comfortable in Illustrator.
I do.
What would help you feel more comfortable in XD?
It's kind of a hard line to say because I love the drawing tools in Illustrator.
Yeah.
And certainly XD isn't made for illustration.
Right.
So I guess for me, it's just more of a familiarity thing.
Okay.
I do like the pen tool, and I think it would just take a little bit of time for me just to get used to using XD. So I don't even know if I'm the right person to ask.
Oh, that's fine. Now you have to use, at the end of the day, you have to use what you feel more comfortable using.
Yes, certainly.
And hey, it's all in the same family too, right? So
there you go.
Doesn't bother me. But I do know that the team is interested in things like this and bringing over tools from Illustrator. So obviously not some of the super intensive tools, but some of the more basic tools that would help designers. Because at the end of the day, XD is free, right?
Right.
So some people might not have access to Illustrator.
That's
and they
true.
just have access to XD. So we want to make sure that they can, design things like this fairly comfortable in XD.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I was looking at these little dots over here, and they were made by lines instead of actual ellipses or circles. Right. So kind of change that a bit, helps round things out, and brings them into a kind of a consistent family here. So I'm fairly happy with that right now.
Oh, Robert's saying maybe something like smart objects that updates in XD when you edit in Illustrator. So
oh yeah,
that functionality kind of exists. If you were to add these icons to a Creative Cloud library,
yes,
and then open that library in XD and bring one of those icons in, they'd be linked.
Interesting.
So you can go back to Illustrator, make those edits, and they'd automatically update in XD. Now, of course, I would like to see a little bit more of a simpler workflow where if you just copied it from Illustrator, and then maybe when you're pasting it, maybe Command, Shift, and V, maybe that will paste it as a linked object. That would be kind of cool. But right now, you can use Creative Cloud libraries to do that.
That's a good thing to remember for sure.
Yeah.
I used to do, when we were all doing web design in Photoshop.
Oh yes, I remember those days.
Yes, those were the times when you could create those linked libraries. That would be super helpful.
Yeah. It's funny because I did in Adobe Max 2015, when Project Comet was announced, which turned out to be XD, I did a class, I guess I call it a session at Max, on web and app design in Photoshop.
Very cool.
Yeah, and today it would just all be done in XD.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, Photoshop is not really meant for web and app design, but before XD, they were definitely trying to figure out ways of doing that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all have been ahead of the curve for sure in various areas.
We try to.
So I definitely don't like them that big, but
Those are a bit big.
they're a bit big. So we're gonna shrink those a little bit. Let me organize some of this here. We got the search icon, we got the list. And I'll do what I did yesterday. I kind of like to pile them all on top of each other and just scale them all down at once. Makes it a lot easier. Do that. We'll put the account, usually it's over on the far right side. So just kind of following standard practices here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do list way over here. So I'll go ahead and distribute those more evenly, make sure they're aligned, and then group them as icons, and then center that to the artboard. Boop. And now everything's set up and ready to go.
Nice.
I have to keep in mind, it's still a little big, and I have to keep in mind that there's going to be this little bar down here, especially for iPhone 10.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll just stick something down there just for reference. Let's go ahead and shrink those icons a little bit more.
Now, what are your thoughts on the big debate about lined icons versus solid icons?
It is quite a debate, and I've had a client that asked me that last week. And really, I just read what's going on, and I don't have a super strong opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
But from my experience, I definitely liked solid icons a bit more. I just created these line icons because they're a bit easier for me to create naturally.
Right.
So it's definitely, it's kind of similar to what we were talking about yesterday with the should designers code.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find myself going back and forth. The project I'm currently working on, I showed you the music app that I'm doing.
Yes. Yeah.
That one, it just felt like line icons they just felt better in that case. I tried both, and some projects that I've worked on, solid icons just felt better. But I've heard some people say, I only want solid icons, and you know?
That's interesting. So what you're saying is it's pretty much up to the art direction sometimes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but some people would disagree with that.
So another thing that we'll need to do here is the active states. So we're currently on the kind of browsing list thing, and I think it might be cool just to add maybe a little highlight behind here using that yellow color that we've been using.
Oh.
So let's go in and add, like you were saying yesterday, we'll go ahead and add this to the assets. Got the yellow.
Fancy.
And of course I have to rename it. And we'll add that to yellow. So looking at that, it still feels a little big.
Yeah.
I get hesitant about, making things a little too small, but when you have the right context around it, it helps.
I'm almost thinking that the borders might be a little bit thick.
They might
But
be.
that could just be me.
Let's take a step back and look
That's
at
always
that for a
something you could
second.
change later, right?
Yeah. So let's grab the space them out a little bit more here. Yeah, they might be a little thick.
Possibly.
So let's just go ahead and hop back in here. And I've already expanded all those, so we'll just Command Z till we get back to where we were. All right.
I'm just causing you problems, John.
It has to happen though. We have to make sure it's perfect.
I'm your hovering art director.
It's good to have collaboration. This is what makes things better.
Yeah.
So we're at 7 there. Lighten those up just a little bit, 7, and then we'll get over here to 7.
Eventually, I'll just be able to jump into your project and edit it myself. I can't wait for that to happen.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I think that feels a little better. We'll give that a try. Since I don't want to have to come back and do that again, we'll go ahead and duplicate those and expand those. All right. What do we got going on in the chat there? Just chatting?
Yeah, just chatting. Graphy says loves outlined icons. Nicholas just joined from Texas.
Texas, nice.
And Julian's saying, John just knocks out these icons like it's no big deal.
Oh, well, I know some people that are better, but Julian's always been very kind to me.
Dan just said, can we nudge down the brightness on John's head?
No, I didn't shine it this morning. I was gonna say I shined it this morning. I didn't. I would like that if that was a little softer. We'll see. I think that's gonna feel a lot better. That was a great idea.
Cool.
Let's just pop these in here and then we'll move on.
Yeah, you probably don't want to spend too much time with on your icons.
I think that's why the little downloads are beneficial. So you don't have to spend much time thinking about it.
True.
And one thing that we could do is make sure that the select icons could get a little smaller if they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So this ring could fit around it.
Yep.
Something to keep in mind.
Hey, Anel, welcome.
All right, so we'll do icons there. All right. So now we have a good tab bar to work with. We have pretty much, at this point, 25% of the search done, because the search is fairly basic sometimes. It's just a little to input. So
right.
What we'll probably do is just duplicate this screen and set that as the basis for this. And we'll kind of just delete stuff here. So I have a blank canvas. We'll highlight this over here. And since we're going to shrink these icons, make sure I get the right group selected.
And very soon in XD 19, as we got a sneak preview from Andrew, cryptic tweet from Andrew, you'll be able to convert the entire nav bar into a symbol like you can do now, but you'll be able to use it on multiple artboards, resize it, and then override it. So you'll be able to move the little yellow highlight over to the search. You'll be able to make that smaller just on that instance of that symbol. And then if you have to, you can make overrides from the master.
That will be super helpful.
Yeah. I spend way too much time playing with XD19, and it's going to be good.
Cool. So now that we're making space for kind of the search bar, the search input itself,
Right.
what we lost there was the actual kind of brand color. Now all we have here is the yellow, which is a very prominent color on this. So I'm gonna make sure that this logo just kind of pops a little bit.
Okay.
That's a fun word to use in design.
Make it pop.
Make it pop. So we'll shrink that a bit too. Just a little bit. And something that will be really cool if we can animate this later is having that logo kind of shrink up just a little bit. That'd be cool. And I like the shape of this little kind of call out here. So we're gonna add that to this panel. And we'll change the color. So one of the things that I spend way too much time on is figuring out how I want to make my input stand out. Sometimes I'll do this. So it'll be like a little border. Make sure that's good. Or I could do the fill a little darker. Or we could do, oh, you gonna say something?
No.
Okay.
I just remember myself doing this over and over and over again, figuring out like what, I kind of like that one.
Yeah. So making these different ones, you can kind of see it in the context of the whole app, which one's probably gonna fit more, and that's probably this one due to the shadows. So we'll just drag this one up.
And Nathaniel says, I'm gonna take a guess here and say John has a thing for wood, respectfully, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of reorganize these a little bit. We got the tab bar here. Gradient. I've forgotten how to spell gradient here. That happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it happens to designers. The worst is when you're designing something with the same word over and over and over again.
Right.
And you're spelling it correctly, but you look at it, it just looks like an alien word. Because you're just so, it's just like, your brain doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And it could be the most basic word, like salsa.
Or balsa.
Yep.
All right. So now we'll have, generally search bars have that little icon. So we'll just copy that one. Make this a little gray. and add a placeholder.
Dan's still going on about your head.
What? Let me see. Where's Dan?
So someone was saying that the music is too loud, but Dan says it's pretty quiet in the background, unlike John's head.
Yep. I'm gonna figure out by the end of this if Dan's a fan of my bald head and is picking on me or truly doesn't like it.
He seems pretty playful.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's just playing. He's having fun.
I don't like my bald head. I wish I still had hair, but not really my choice. Genetics.
Maybe soon.
Maybe soon.
I feel like on Reddit, every single week, there's a cure for baldness. And then someone in the comments tells us why it's wrong. It's classic Reddit.
Classic Reddit.
Yeah.
So let's, this is feeling a little small now. So again, that huge part of icons is just the context of things.
Absolutely.
So we'll make this a little bigger. You can just continue kind of improving the spacing around this stuff.
Adriano, yeah, Rotato is the, used to be called Design Camera. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna have to show that. It's maybe after Chat and Win. There's this really cool application called Rotato. I'll get into it later.
Okay.
But it's super cool for 3D mockups and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we have a search bar now. This is very basic. It hits everything that we're gonna need. You need to be able to go to a different page to search, and you're gonna need to be able to have a place to type in something since you're searching.
Right.
And I think something that will be super helpful is actually that we have the search empty state. And something that I encourage a lot of designers to do is think about your empty states instead of just the full states of things. So we'll say searching, and we'll do full empty.
MRA saying, please beat Sketch out of the competition so I, as a poor student, don't have to buy a Mac. But I'm actually very curious, MRA, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Obviously, XD works on Windows and Mac, but what in particular, if you can choose like one or two things that Sketch has that you would like to see in Adobe XD, because we have a big update coming out, XD 19, just 2 updates from now, that I think will solve some of those pain points. But let me know in the chat, MRA or anyone else, one or two things from Sketch that would make you feel more comfortable in Adobe XD.
Cool. So one thing I did there was kind of shift up this logo and make it transparent in preparation for animation.
Oh, right.
For auto animate, which would be super helpful. Just be able to, so you have a empty state where this logo kind of shrinks up here.
Dan says guides. Okay.
Guides.
Guides. Simple, right? Guides.
Guides?
Guides, like pulling out rulers. Not rulers, but like guides.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
So we'll say we're looking for, we'll just say chair. Of course, it's not a placeholder, so we're gonna make it black. We'll go back over here, black.
Tim says, don't say rulers, don't say rulers, don't say rulers. He said guides.
So I think that's feeling good now. I mean, maybe when you get into actually searching, maybe there's only 2 that show up or something. So we'll just say that's what we'll do there. And of course, when you're actually searching, you need the keyboard. We'll just do a placeholder there for the keyboard.
Dark mode. Don't we all want dark mode?
Is it dark mode again?
It's dark mode. We're always on about dark mode. Oh, speaking of dark mode, look at that.
Hey, there you go.
There we go.
Nice.
Dark mode.
Nice.
You asked for dark
our
mode.
shirts.
We're just like matchy today.
Perfect.
All right, so we're gonna take a very quick break, and when we come back, let us know what one feature, if you can choose one feature to bring to Adobe XD, what would that be? We'll be right back. And we're back, so let us know in the chat if you can have one feature in Adobe XD that doesn't exist right now. What would that be? And one of you in a few minutes will win 100 stickers from stickermule.com. You can make dark mode stickers, stickers with guides. I don't know what you want to.
You know what my feature would be?
What?
Just an auto design button.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to auto animate, but you click the button and everything's done.
Yeah. I like that. We got hover. Hover is definitely in the works. It's a lot trickier than people think. Oh gosh, it's just all hover. Hover, 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 hover.
Hover.
Hover's coming.
Hover.
Hover's coming.
Hover.
Yeah. Video and GIFs. Yep, that's something else the team is thinking about. Dark mode stickers. Autocorrect does exist in Adobe XD. It was added a bunch of months ago. Yeah. Audio prototypes. Yeah, the audio team does want to get to, they want to be able to add audio within prototypes. So like for speech playback and things like that.
That'd be cool.
And Felix Binder, Felix something or other. You just won 100 stickers from Sticker Mule. Someone from Behance will reach out to you very shortly and get you all set up. And if you did not win today, there will be more chances, but you can also go to stickermule.com/Adobe Live 19 and you can get 10 stickers for $1, which is cool.
That's a good deal.
Applying gradients to text. Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be cool. It'd
Yeah.
also be very difficult in code to apply gradients to text. It's possible.
Yeah. Mr. says symbol suggestion on new rectangle creation. Not sure what that means. Maybe clarify it, but we have a big
interesting.
update coming for symbols.
So maybe like if you draw a square and you needed like one quick button to say this square needs to be this symbol or something, if you just wanted to place it.
Oh,
Maybe.
interesting.
Sound effects like pop, squash. Pop and squash. Cool. All right. So now I have a empty state. Are we okay to move on? Or what are
Yeah,
we
go
gonna-
for it.
okay,
I'm
cool.
gonna set up the Rotato
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Cool.
Oh, this is the wrong one.
Yeah, so I have the main state here. I have a search empty and a search full. This is the placeholder for kind of like a keyboard there. So we'll just keep it there. So that kind of deals with the search there. Now we have one of those features done. Again, search isn't too complicated, so we can kind of just make it easy. Of course, we would need an actual screen to show the plan, but we're just kind of diving in from the top and going down here. So
Totally.
let's get back over to the main, and we're gonna tackle the account. So we'll drag this down. I usually like to set different features on different rows. Just drag this one over here. Drag the main down. There we go. So again, what we'll do is we'll have to move over this highlight over to the account, shrink this one down, move this one back up. Oop.
There's a few people that were asking about live prototyping on Windows, and I know that at the moment, when you connect an Android phone to Windows 10, it doesn't allow you to do the live prototyping. And I found out recently that it's because of a UWP restriction. So the Windows UW something or other, the guidelines for Windows. So there's actually some restrictions that are not allowing it. And it's also the reason why you can't record directly from within Adobe XD, because there's weird restrictions of the Windows guidelines. So we are working with Microsoft to try to figure that out or work around it, but yeah, that's kind of why it's not there yet. It sucks, but you know, gotta follow those guidelines.
Gotta follow them. So now that we're starting to kind of reuse some of these elements here, it might be helpful to kind of make some of these actual symbols here.
Ooh.
So let's go ahead and let's make this one a symbol. Command K.
Dan says a triangle in the toolbar would be nice. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah,
Why not, right?
yeah.
Okay. I'll tell the team to do that.
So since auto animate uses kind of the names, I'm assuming. For
It
my
does.
use, it uses the names of the layers.
It
to
does. So
animate stuff.
layer names and layer types as well.
Oh, okay.
So both of them have to be symbols on both artboards. And one of the cool things is if you start with like a rectangle and a circle on two artboards, right? If they're named the same, they will not animate by default.
Interesting.
That's not the cool thing. But if you convert both of them into a path with the same name, the rectangle will auto animate into a circle, like seamlessly. It's kind of cool. So as long as the names and types are the same, it'll animate.
Interesting.
Yep.
Cool. So that's why I'm going to name it the kind of like logo large and logo small, just to have it at least for this point.
Yeah.
When we're auto-animating that logo, though, it might need to be the same so that it can change colors and everything. So we'll get back to that point. Since we're going on account, we're going to just kind of copy and paste some of these elements and start reusing things to make a design system much easier for the future. So there's that. Let's see. What I'm very particular about where I have my placement of things. So we'll say that's 52.72. Okay, same exact spot, I think. 143, perfect. So we have, again, we had this input where we kind of went through styles of different things. And we could actually probably just reuse this exact style for just a basic row.
Yep.
So we'll do that. Copy this text over here. And we're going to make this one black. Let's use this color over here.
Tim, why did the tree need to take a nap? For rest.
Very good. That's a good one.
I can just picture Tim sitting behind his keyboard, cracking up over there.
Let's see. We'll say the name of the person. Generally, what's going to happen here with the account page specifically is you're going to have to talk to the development team or someone that is kind of well-versed on what needs to be available to the user. But we'll just assume it's the name and location because eventually they'll be sharing stuff. In fact, let's just go ahead and do the repeat grid here. Something I just noticed yesterday. I always try to figure out why certain times I did the repeat grid, it was much larger, things spaced out, and I realized that it goes based on the drop shadow.
Right, the shadow does enlarge it, yep.
Yeah. So we'll go back through here and I don't know how many we're going to need here, but we'll say name, location, and then maybe we'll have below it some other types of rows that have color or something. So we'll do this for now.
That's one thing you will run into from time to time is the drop shadow will kind of knock things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be worth kind of going back and just undoing it for now, just for... Let's do that. Okay. So now that we have those two, we'll probably also need like a log out button in case someone else with their account wanted to come in. And we don't want it to look like, you know, these actual rows up here. So we'll center this. Maybe we'll change the background to the yellow color.
Oh, okay.
So now we have it looks more like a button.
Yep.
And of course, we need some values here. So we'll duplicate those, line them over here. And something that helps sometimes is just kind of changing the weight of things, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
So this is my...
That's quite the name.
Suedemont. I need a long name sometimes.
How do you spell that?
Things.
How do you pronounce that?
Gertrude Suedemont.
Okay.
I thought it would be helpful just to have a long name. So we'll do it for now.
Digging it.
We'll say he's also from San Francisco.
He sounds like he would be from San Francisco.
San Francisco, Florida. Sorry. That was a habit. A really bad habit. Yes, he does sound like he'd be from San Francisco.
Yeah.
So that works for now. And of course, if someone wanted to, you know, click on one of these, they could probably change it with the little keyboard.
Yeah. Ali is asking about the challenge. So we are about half an hour before the stream ends. We're going to be taking a look at challenge entries. And there's a specific challenge on the challenge tab at the top right of the stream. But if you are taking part in the XD Daily Challenge, feel free to submit any of your challenges over the last week or so. And you know, the magical moderators will pick 2 of them for us to take a look at.
Cool. So that's good for now, I think. Now we have the search and the account. And if we wanted to just kind of prototype it real quickly, just to get a sense of what it's like, Let's go ahead and do that. We'll say, let's go ahead and add a little element here. Maybe you can show me a better way to do this, but sometimes I'll just add a little element like this over that.
Oh, for the button press?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then this would go to the search. We'll just do none for now. That's generally how iOS apps work themselves.
That's true. You know, we always focus on these magical animations and micro interactions, but if you really look at most of the apps that you use on a daily basis, especially some of the social media ones, when you press on a button, there's nothing that really happens. It just goes to the next screen.
Yeah.
But we're all, you know, we live in a dribble life, so we want to get them looking as nice as possible.
Right. The dribble life.
I'm guilty of it.
Oop. Let's go ahead and make that one none as well. Perfect. So let's test this real quick, just see what it's like. Okay. We'll go back. That works.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do this. We'll have to do this for all the little pieces here. Let's see here. Oh, that's why. I'm in prototype mode. Try and draw a square.
You know what I wish XD had? I don't remember who it was. It was one of my guests. But they suggested that if you're in prototype mode and you press one of the shortcut keys for, let's say, an ellipse or a rectangle, it should automatically switch you back into design mode. I would like that.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
I would have solved that problem there just perfectly.
Yeah.
So here we go. Now I have all the little shapes set up here. So that I take having to go back and forth between all these different ones. So this one will go back to the list. Transition none. This one will go to account. Transition none. Search. And then the feed. So I think we're good now. There we go.
Ooh, look at that.
So now you got several different screens, some reused elements.
Yep.
So good to go there.
And as Felix, our winner of the stickers, just mentioned, the more you are using an app, the less you are aware of the animations. And I think that's true, because there are some apps that I do use. I think I use the Elevate app from time to time, and that has like super fancy animations. But he's exactly right. The more you use it, the more you kind of tune out that stuff. You just want to use the app.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even find that some of the animations make it feel slow when I'm trying to use something, because I'm so familiar with the app. I just want it to move much more quickly.
That's true.
There's a lot of discussion about the WCAG. Then this is something I forgot the name of yesterday, but checking the contrast of different text. So they're saying that yellow is kind of hard to work with, and it certainly is, especially for text, because if you made this white and this yellow, it's so hard to read.
And there is, I don't know if it, I would imagine it does, but there's a plugin called Stark. I think it's called Stark, that is specifically made. Oh, you have it there.
Oh, I do have it. There you go.
Do. And it's specifically made for accessibility.
Oops, no layer selected.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
I'm not sure if it's for, WCAG, but or WCAG.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
that's exactly what it is.
Bam.
So it meets
Stark.
And so generally when I'm working with yellow, which I do like to do sometimes because it's a very unique color, not a lot of people are using it, is just stay away from using yellow on text. That's just the rule I stick to. So.
Now, very quickly, now that you've kind of finished the basic prototype, I'm going to switch to my screen for a second. Make sure I don't have anything top secret open. I do have some secret stuff in here, but I'm not going to click on that. I'm just going to leave it there to tease you all. I do want to show you, someone mentioned the Rotato plugin. So it's a strange name. It used to be called Design Camera, which I liked a lot more, but it's this application you can download. You can download the free beta, but there's a pro version. I think it's only $49, which isn't bad. And it comes with a lot of different presets for, depending on which kind of device that you're looking for. So there's a laptop, if it loads in a second. I may have just broken the application. There it goes.
There you go.
So there's a laptop, there's a phone. If you just want a boundless device, you can do that, right? Let me go for like a standard iPhone 10 without the notch, right? So you can move this around. There's also animations. It's kind of fancy,
Very
right?
cool.
And the way it used to work, and you can still do it like this, but if you have, let's say you recorded an interaction from within Adobe XD, you can just grab a video file, drag it onto the screen, and it embeds it, and you can play it like that. You can also do your animations, and it also plays the video.
Very cool.
But they just released a plugin for Adobe XD that allows you, let me go to XD here. So let's say I want this within Rotato, right? There's two things I can do. I can go to the plugins menu, go to Rotato. Such a strange name, Rotato. I can send it directly to the application just to have it as a static image, or they have an exploding option. This is kind of cool.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
You know why? I figured out what was wrong here. It's called Rotato, but you don't have a tomato in your
That could be it. Yeah, I just exploded the application with the plugin. Let me try that one more time. I'm sure they're working out some of the kinks.
It's still a fairly new app.
It
I remember
is.
when it was Design Camera just like a month ago.
And it's still very much in beta. And I believe it's just one guy who's putting this whole thing
Gotcha.
together. But this will allow you
cool.
to actually like levitate a lot of you're noticing all the burger pieces are kind of on one layer. So if I go back here, let me actually grab this one. I'll duplicate this. And I'm gonna go to the burger group. I'm gonna ungroup everything. That way it basically tells Rotato that everything should be on its own levitation plane or whatever you want to call it. Now let me explode it again. And now everything is kind of,
very cool.
yeah, isn't that cool? So if I want to, let's say, start it at this, I can go to manual, I can add the current view.
Okay.
Then maybe I want to go to the front. I'm gonna set the levitation to 0.1 because there's a little bit of a clipping issue right now, and then add the current view. And then you can basically just animate between the two.
Very cool.
It's super cool. So if you haven't checked it out, it is Mac only. Tim did post the link. So the application Mac only, I think it's just one guy developing this thing. It's still in beta, so you can download it, and there's some limitations of the beta versus Pro, but there is now a plugin directly within Adobe XD to send that stuff over, also a shortcut. Yeah, it's super cool. And very quickly, I want to show you Andrew's Twitter account. So here's some, maybe you can start guessing what some of these are. So first of all, symbols. I mean, that was a given. But this one here, what do you think this is? And I cannot confirm or deny any of this.
We don't think you'll get on board with some of the key features coming. Oh.
Thoughts?
Where's the any key?
And if anyone in the chat has guesses on what this could be hinting at, throw it in there.
A new type of prototyping experience. Animations? Like, I guess like, no, not the Rotato. That's what we were just looking at. Good question.
Okay, next one.
We're upping our game again. More control for your prototyping coming soon. Shared prototyping?
Andrew's good at these cryptic messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this one.
Strike through expectations. 19 is the new 18. Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. Throw your guesses in the chat.
I'm not good at guessing things. I just kind of wait and see what happens. So
Alrighty.
there we go.
That's all you get for today.
Okay, cool. So we have the basic screens here. I thought what might be good is to add kind of like some more ways to browse these things.
Okay.
So we probably want that to happen within this main screen instead of creating an additional screen.
Sure.
You just open the app and you can start working on it. So one of the things that I immediately see that we could do is go from most recent. We could kind of work on this filter a little bit. So if someone were to tap that, I was thinking maybe we can pull open a little pop-up.
Ooh.
Let's pop that on the filter. We'll kind of bump up this border radius. Let it match everything else. And then add a drop shadow, take away that border. Let's set that to 10 and 25 or something. So it's getting a little tight there, so we'll kind of move this up. The animations might be interesting later. But let's say we're going to do that, and we'll, when you're browsing a project, you have most recent, and we're trying to brainstorm of other ways that, other things that we could list here. So we'll say, just make a little text list here. Bump up the text, make that black, and then let's say most recent, oldest. It's the opposite of most recent. Most recent is the current selected one. So we'll just make that underlined for now. Then we're gonna have most popular. And then free.
Free is always good.
Free is always good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking through the future of what I would probably build into this app. You're sharing plans, you have very premium plans, maybe even a whole house or something, and you'd have to buy that plan since it'd be a ton of work for the creator. So let's say that is what we're gonna be working with there. We can shrink this down a little bit. Now I'm thinking through now the tap area for each of those names might be a little tight. I'm trying to think of what it would be like on a phone, and something that would be helpful is to actually view it on the phone.
Right.
We'll just stay here for now.
Yeah, if you have a USB cable, you can do it.
So let's just say that's a little larger, just to give your thumb a bit more space. And I don't like the underlined. I don't feel like it completely fits in there well. So let's say that we're gonna bring a little bit more character into it again. And we'll make this yellow. Of course, we're doing a ton of border radius here. So now it kind of looks like this one is selected.
Yeah.
In a way.
And it's a little bit fun too.
Yeah. Bring a little bit of character to it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, let's see, what else do I have in here? Why is this all the browse projects? There we go. We'll rename this filter. So there we go. Maybe we could animate that as well later. So we'll come back to that. But now we have like a very kind of basic filter type thing.
Yeah, if you want to get really fancy, once you get to the animation phase, you can essentially collapse all of that in either like an animated mask or just like shrink it all down on the first artboard, and then it'll just nicely expand on the second.
Yeah. So we'll stick with that for now. I kind of like that a little bit more centered. Maybe it feels a bit better. So we'll rename this layer OS main filtering.
Julian says, and the front end devs cry a little.
Oh yeah.
But you're keeping that in mind, right? That
I'm trying to.
Because just looking at this, it's most of it's pretty simple to do on the front end, right? For the most part.
Yeah. From my experience, I've never, and this is what's difficult, is when I do front end, it's mostly on the web. So I don't know much about the iOS side of things, but using something like React Native to kind of use web technologies in the native sense, I think it would be doable, but yeah, there might be a few tears shed. So that's basic filtering. Of course, that's great, but really all we're leaning on now is searching and the kind of filtering as the main features for this. So there could be yet one more layer of just kind of like a general category. Okay. Because generally when you see like a table or something, you're viewing a huge list of items and you can sort by almost any property. And there's gonna be tons of different properties to sort through. So we just kind of want to bring some of those features into here. So we'll once again duplicate this. Let's put it over here. And we know this one's gonna be categories, so I'm gonna go ahead and name this one categories. Delete that. I'm gonna add this back over here. In fact, I was thinking we create another screen, but it's not gonna be a different step. It's gonna be actually in addition to this screen is what I'm thinking. So let's go down here and we're gonna move this down a little bit. You still get a preview of some of these little items here, which will be helpful. But up here, we can actually add some categories in little circles maybe.
Almost looks like stories on Instagram now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of stay with the trends, right?
Yep.
Sometimes you want to break them. So I like that layout. Of course, we're gonna need some text here because these are not gonna be pretty standard icons. another reason why we didn't have to use text on here was that list, search, account, those are familiar across many different apps.
Yeah, just looking at this, I would definitely know what each of those kind of take me to.
So down here, I mean up here, we'll probably need some additional words just to set it apart so that they understand what they're gonna be clicking on.
Yep.
So let's do that right quick. When you're using XD, do you use the text tool or do you copy shapes like this? Like I usually Command C the nearest text shape or the nearest text layer.
Yeah, if it's going to be the same, basically the same style, I'll just copy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just make this one a bit smaller here. Make that centered, go down to 11, and we'll say this is going to be chairs. And then we're going to have tables. We'll have, what's another good? Side tables? No, side tables would be in tables. Chairs, tables, and we'll say.
It's a lot of pressure. What else is wood?
What else is wood that you could use? We'll just do general fern, like, oh, I built my own bed, so we'll do beds.
Laptop cases.
You know what that goes in is miscellaneous.
Oh, there you go.
So
beautiful.
That's a hard one. Let's do other. That feels better.
Yeah, who needs to do spelling and
Yeah.
design? That's what copy editors are for.
All right, so there's that. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna need some icons. So we got chairs, tables, bed, and other.
Oh yeah, Julian says sideboards, Juan says lamps, Garafi says desks, shelves.
Desks.
Yeah.
Let's do desks
Those are
there.
good suggestions. And hey, Osama and Bohana, who just joined us recently. If anyone's taking part in today's challenge, definitely get those in. We've got about 32 minutes until that deadline is up.
Let's add a little bit of color here. Yellow. Maybe?
Maybe. It might be a little bit too much yellow.
Yeah. So maybe we want yellow. Maybe we want yellow, but we don't want. Sorry. Designing and talking at the same time, as I'm sure many
tough,
people on
isn't
here,
it?
it's difficult. So maybe we just add like a little yellow border there, and we
Okay.
can make the icons kind of black inside there, just to even it out. All right, so we're gonna need chairs, tables, desks, and other. Chairs, tables, desks, and other. This is just for my reference. I don't have to go back later. All right, so chairs. What are we gonna do for a chair? Let's start with just a rectangle tool. So we're gonna need the place for someone to sit, right?
Sure.
That's a critical part of a chair.
Yeah, usually.
We have the legs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're going to be working with rounded corners here. So let's go ahead and, which is great that XD has that as well. That's one of those things that I love.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right, so let's just make a little. This is looking like a box right now, but
I'm starting to see the chair coming together.
this might be, it might be too big. We're looking at the, I'm looking at the, let's do this. Let's blend these. I just want to see what this looks like. Object, blend. Let's go ahead and blend those. Ooh, that looks funky.
Interesting.
I wonder why that happened. Some really weird shapes going on there. Look at that.
I mean, it kind of looked like wood, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just run. That's what you meant to do.
Yeah, let's say
Totally meant to do that.
So we'll do this, and it's, just trying to kind of think about what I'm gonna do here. Let's arc that just a little bit. So now we have the top of a chair. Now, I think that's gonna be way too big, but
It might be, but you got to try it.
You gotta try it. Let's expand that some more, just so we keep the weight of the strokes the same. All right. Shrink that a bit. Yep. Not a big fan.
It's not terrible.
I see it being a little bit more simple. I think for,
Yeah.
you know, looking at the stroke width of these down here.
Right.
It's a little different. So let's go back over here.
Maybe just one little bar in the middle instead of 4 of them.
Let's see that.
No, that looks weird. It looked better in my head.
It looks like kind of a Chinese character.
It does, yeah.
So let's just put that aside. And we're gonna really work on simplifying this here. So I'm gonna snap to the grid here, not the pixel. Oh. Now one thing I get confused on is the shortcuts between all the different apps.
I know. I know there's been discussion, you know, a lot of users want the ability to set shortcuts in XD based on the application they could usually use.
Mm-hmm.
So they would line up with Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever it might be. I would love to see that.
Let's just start here like this.
But I also get mixed up the other way. So if I'm in Photoshop, which I use quite often, I'll just Command R to try to repeat grid.
And nothing
And
happens.
the rulers hide.
So this will feel probably a little bit better. Let's.
Jason's saying he has that as a tattoo. I think he's talking about your little
Oh,
chair.
this thing right here?
Yeah.
What does it mean? If you have it as a tattoo, it must be significant. Let's just, you know, we had a lot of character in these other ones because they were really simple. You know, we could separate things, but maybe because of how small these are, we can't do that. So we'll just kind of simplify things here. Now, what does a good back of a chair look like? This is kind of a farmhouse style, so let's just extend these up.
Graphi's saying you should make some extra cash by selling your icons.
You think
That's
so?
not a bad idea.
Well, that means a lot. I've never been super confident in my icon skills, so thank you.
They look pretty good to me.
Looks like a high chair a little bit,
It
but
does.
I think we could work with it. Could add another one of these little things right here.
It's almost like a crib now.
It is almost like a crib.
Just change the text to crib and call it a day.
Let's see here. Does that look like a chair? Maybe not. Kind of a weird perspective for a chair, but you know
Yeah.
what? We're gonna use it. We'll just add that for now and we'll move on to the table. And maybe going and working on a table, we'll have something to come back with. All right, so let's start on the second table, or the little table here.
Yeah, chairs are difficult. Even in Nucleo, there's
Oh yeah?
a few little chair icons, but they're, I mean, that doesn't look, let me go to my screen.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, there's some icons that are kind of like chairs, but they're not a
Kind of-
stool. Stool's not bad.
I like the director's
This
chair.
one looks like a Santa sled.
It does.
Yeah, they're tough. I don't even know what this looks like. What is this supposed to be? Chair 3.
Chair 3. That's
That
helpful.
looks like a
Looks like a
lighthouse or something.
or like a canvas easel.
Yeah. Yeah, chairs are, this looks like a dead fish.
Sad fish.
Yeah. Tricky.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that maybe. And a difficult thing, especially with woodworking, is that you don't want to create a cushion chair because
It's true.
let's just see what that looks like in table. Really simple. And a table and a desk is going to be similar, right? So that's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Might be helpful, since the most important thing here is to just do text.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
There you go.
I mean, people know what chairs are. People know what tables are.
I mean,
And other could be whatever.
they're probably sitting in a chair as they're looking
Yeah,
at this.
possibly. That's an interesting question from Emre. Is it a crime to use websites like Font Awesome as a UX designer instead of making them yourself?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I mean, there are some Font Awesome or Nucleo or whatever it is, they are made for designers to use icons, right?
Yeah, right.
They sell the icons for you to use them.
The thing I'm thinking about is as a UX designer. As a UX designer, I don't think so. If you're specifically on UI design and you have the time, go ahead and make some.
Right.
But when you're specifically working with UX, you're looking at the much larger picture of how this app flows.
Yeah.
You probably don't have time to get into those little things.
Jan says, depends on how much you're getting paid. That's true.
There you go.
That's true. It's a good point.
Money equals time.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna need this to update over here as well. And we're gonna work into some different, let's go ahead and group those. We're gonna need to work in some different screens for these categories. That actually show what a category page looks like.
Right.
So let's say we got that there. That works for now. Sorry, I'm being peculiar here. It looks like it's a little high, so we'll move that down there. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to a category page. There's categories there, and we'll go ahead and remove that, remove this. Actually, we'll need that. But especially when they're browsing now, a big promotional banner is not going to be necessary. We could probably animate that down to a smaller logo here.
Mm-hmm.
Put that over here. And now we're going to need a selected state. We'll say this one is the actual. Oop. Boop. There we go. So now we know that chairs are selected. Just repeat that. Simple enough, but it might help, might make it worth it. So now we have several different screens here. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's looking good.
Okay.
I think it's super simple. The yellow definitely pops, and I don't think it's too much yellow.
Yeah, good.
Because if you did have that banner at the top, and then you made the active state of chairs also yellow, I think it would just blind somebody.
Yeah.
But it's subtle enough.
Certainly don't want to put too much yellow,
Yeah.
for sure.
And chat, let us know if you think the yellow's too much or just enough. I kind of like it.
That'd be good to hear what others think there.
Yeah.
So now we have the list section, or kind of the browsing section with some categories or the filtering.
Yep.
We have a search, empty and full, and the account. So we could actually start kind of prototyping some of this.
Nice.
Because we have a bit of screens. And as you're prototyping, I found myself, especially during prototyping, is just finding other things to work on and improve the app with.
Yeah. And if you were designing this for an actual client, at what part of the process would you start sharing some of these explorations?
I would think about now.
Okay.
From my experience, if you share too soon and the client's not very well versed with design in general, they're going to start asking a ton of questions that a simple mockup like this would answer.
Right.
So if you spend an extra day there just kind of working on it and handing it over, then they're going to be like, oh, I see that, what the categories looks like, what those buttons look like when they're selected or something.
Yeah.
So
Osama's asking about the Toronto UXD lunch on April 29th. I was hoping to go. I was talking to them about possibly speaking, but we couldn't decide on, couldn't just the details didn't work out. Maybe next time. I was hoping to go back.
You like to travel?
Sometimes. And I'm from Toronto, so anytime
okay.
I can get back to Toronto, I try to take it, get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go ahead and start, like I said, prototyping some of this.
Is this the Ron Swanson app?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course it is. Oh, you know what we're going to need? I just realized this. An actual page for a plan. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to, you know what, we'll just put it over here.
Some people are saying the yellow looks like IKEA.
I am one of those people that actually kind of likes IKEA.
I like
I'm not gonna
IKEA too.
lie. I know it can be a pain to put together, but designs are cool.
They have some good stuff.
Yeah.
And they've gotten a little bit more expensive, but for the most part, fairly affordable.
So let's go ahead and remove this as well. We're gonna want, especially since you're working with wood plans, you're gonna want as much of the real estate as possible dedicated to that plan, because generally they're, you know, big PDFs or something that
Right.
are gonna be needed. But with this app, we would, you know, we'd like to take advantage of the medium and make sure that's not a big PDF, but still have that space to work with. So
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is we'll go ahead and kind of copy, let's go up to the main inner card. Where is my image? Maybe I have it selected. There you go. So let's say we've selected this chair and this is the one we're going to be working on. We'll go ahead and add that up here.
Do you use responsive resize at all?
Not much.
Okay. Ashwini is asking, in what way is responsive resize useful? So my quick answer is that if you're starting on mobile or you're starting on desktop and you want to very quickly get to a point where you're at a pretty good place with the other one, whether it's you know, desktop to mobile or mobile to desktop, it'll get you about 80% of the way there, sometimes a little bit more, just by dragging in the artboard, the handles on the side or the bottom. But then you'll have to obviously make a few tweaks to get it exactly looking the way you want it on the other device, but it should get you about 80% of the way there.
Cool. So when you're actually on a page, the one thing that you're really gonna need to know is the name of it. So let's go ahead and pull up that, kind of like the H1 for mobile, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way. We'll say this is the simple modern chair.
It's definitely not an IKEA chair.
No, and in fact, I think that would be kind of difficult to build.
Yeah, and pronounce.
There was a website, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but there was a website that you could click on the different names of things and it would tell you how to say it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So when you're going through the store, you could actually say something.
You can create that in Adobe XD with speech playback.
There you go.
I'd be curious to see how well Adobe XD pronounces those names. That should be your project for tomorrow.
Let's. All right. So just kind of exploring some layout here. This might not be the best because of different lengths of names. Vertical is difficult text. So you know what we could also do is make this just a big old image up here.
Oh, okay.
Really make it stand out and then put stuff on top of it. Just move that below everything. I definitely like this. I think this would be good.
That's looking nice.
Because then we can add a bit of, you know, like a gradient or something on top of this, just to fade it out a bit. All right.
I'm definitely a sucker for full width imagery.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
I like it. Just kind of tweaking the gradient here until I feel comfortable with it. Of course, when users are uploading the image, this might happen, where it's just kind of like off-centered and off to the side. So
Yeah.
it might be good just to leave that for now, so we get kind of get used to that happening, and then we can come back and make it really look pristine later on. So we'll say this is the simple modern chair here. And this one had 5-star rating.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Put that here, kind of, again, reusing styles, and it looks like that yellow is gonna be quite difficult to
I was
see.
about to say, it's
Yep.
a little bit tough.
So let's go ahead and find a different way to work with this. I'm gonna go ahead and ungroup that because I'm probably gonna want these to be a bit bigger, which I know, or I hope would be possible in the future. Being able to resize
Possibly.
stuff.
Especially if it's a symbol. Maybe. You never know.
So, but for now, we'll ungroup it there and do that. Bump this up a bit, just to get some size going so we can see what we're doing here. So making it bigger certainly helps with that contrast, I think. But even on that screen there, it's kind of difficult to see.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's the screen that we're looking at is a little bit washed out. It's a little bit easier to see on yours. Yeah.
So, but that's good to see because there are some people that have monitors that are going to be difficult to see yellow with. So, let's keep figuring out what we're going to do here. So border, something around each star might not be good. So let's move towards exploring some containers for this. Put some of that there. Now, do we have a gray we're using? I don't think so.
Worst case, you can always make the stars black.
Yeah.
That's my simple solution for everything.
I wonder what that would look like. So let's try it. Let's just see.
Then I feel like you would probably have to have yellow somewhere else.
Yeah, and it'll be hard to rate. I mean, I guess that would work.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's not fancy, but, simple.
Let's do that. Because I definitely like this white kind of background here. And I don't want to add a big box. So let's stick with that.
Dan is asking, do you ever name and organize your layers?
All the time. Right now, I'm a little embarrassed because I have container and rectangle and another rectangle, but I find it really helpful.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people, and this is a good thing to ask, how many people work on their layer names? I'd be interested.
I've been guilty of not, and especially back in the day when I was working a lot in Photoshop, and I would just have hundreds of layers and just layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yep.
and it just went on and on and on forever. But especially now that you can search layers and artboards and groups and everything within Adobe XD, you got to keep your layer names up to date. Otherwise, you're not going to find anything.
So now we need to start kind of thinking through what is going to be part of a plan. What's going to be included in there? You're obviously going to have some steps, some actual steps. You're going to need a material list.
Steps are good. Material list, how much time it might take.
How much time it might take.
Yeah.
That might be good. I like to call this little section like my metadata section.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and add.
Tools you might use.
That's good. Let's do that. Oops.
How many people you might have to have.
Let's say this will take 4 hours and specifically 23 minutes because someone timed it down to the minute.
Kerwin's saying, when I picked up a coworker's job files and the layers aren't named, I'm not exactly the nicest person in the office. I don't blame you, Kerwin. If you're working with if your designer gives you a big file and expects you to find things, and if you're a developer, no, I'm sending it back to them.
Try again.
Yeah.
So let's just say this takes 4 hours and maybe not 23 minutes. This is just time. Estimated time.
Yeah, I think 4 hours is pretty accurate for a chair, especially an IKEA chair.
IKEA chair.
Might take double that.
And 3 smushed fingers.
A few broken pieces, a few trips back to IKEA.
So I don't think we're using gray anywhere else. Oh, yeah, we are. We're using this gray. So let me go ahead and add that over here. Medium gray. We'll set that one to medium gray since we're using that elsewhere. And I kind of want to just create this section, make it feel like a dashboard in a way. So let's go ahead and add a line. And again, we can make this a bit better in the future. But now we have this kind of a little section here. Well, let's do it this way.
Ooh, fancy.
There you go. Simple modern chair. 5 stars, it's gonna take about 4 hours. So now we have a place to actually add, or we need a place to actually add some material lists. So I like to keep things 16 pixels from the side.
I'm just picturing the material list, just one material, wood.
Wood. Go out in the forest, cut down a tree,
Yeah.
and then bring it back. A little too dark there. Tweaking colors here. We'll center some of these items, and then this will be a good place for the material list. Let's bring this down here. Oop.
Nils is jumping in on the dad jokes. Can February, March? No, but April, May. Well played.
Well played. Very good one. All right, so there's your materials heading. And something that might be helpful here when you're going and actually shopping for things, instead of having to create a list, maybe we can just add the to-do list here so they can see the plan.
Be nice, yeah.
So we'll say you need, and something that I found difficult is in other plans that I've worked on, they tell you every specific cut. So you kind of have to tally up how much wood you're gonna need in general. But if we just say you need 3 2x4s, that would be good. So now we can see we need like 5 1x4s. And this is probably not the most accurate way to list this. So let's work on, we'll say this is your to-do list, your to-do list little item here.
Someone's asking if you are going to show off the completed Bob Loblaw's website at some point.
If I'm gonna what there?
Show off the finished.
Oh, I should. I should redo that. I'll probably have to.
That'd be a good Behance project.
Yes, I plan on doing that. I want to finish out these projects and kind of upload them to Behance and have the final files there. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, so make sure to go follow John on Behance. I'm gonna pressure him to put that up there one day.
I need to figure out that header because yesterday we had that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All right, so let's put a little delineator in there. Ooh. Where am I? See, this is why I like naming layers. I don't know where I am. Here's the container.
Yeah.
Here's the heading. Here's some other text and the checklist. All right. So we'll put this right here, materials for now. Materials. All right, so I probably would like that to be that yellow since we don't have much yellow on this page.
Yeah, that would look nice.
So let's add that yellow here. Uh-oh, contrast issue. So let's do this. Let's make the fill white. Add a little border around it. I think that feels a little bit better. So now that we have 2 circles, we have one that's a delineator and one's that's the actual checklist. So that might be difficult to put right next to each other and make it clear to the user what they're going to be doing. So let's make the checklist on the right side and just see what that would look like. Two inches by 4 inches, 2 by 4. Item. All right. Now we can use a repeat grid here, and we can actually just kind of make a big list here of all the things that we're gonna need. We're gonna need 2 1x4s, 5. Let's see, what's a normal size? Let's just do 1 piece of plywood. And then we'll just make those 3. Actually, we're gonna need some screws to put things together. So we'll do 30 number 8-inch, 1.5-inch wood screws. All right, let's see, we'll make some more space here so that we can see everything, and then continue to tweak the sizes here.
Got about 4 minutes until the challenge submission deadline is up. I'm getting them all ready to go.
Cool. All right. So maybe the checklist might be difficult here. We have the delineator, the number of things that we need to get, and then we have the actual items. Let's see here. It would look good over here. I'm a big sucker for lines like this. I love adding little lines between everything, just to help kind of separate concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Four. So what do we have here? We have the size of the circle is 25, and then it's spaced by 7. We got 25, and we'll space this out by 7.
Nice.
There you go. All right, now we're gonna need a lot more space to add these steps below here.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Do that.
Make that artboard scrollable.
I'll delete this home. Actually, you know, it might be helpful is to position that fixed. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Fancy.
And we'll do that to the status bar as well. Fixed. There we go. Let's drag it out to the top, just make sure it's visible all the time. There we go. All right, now we're gonna need some steps. Do we have the time or do we need to?
We got 2 minutes.
Okay.
So get those steps in quickly.
Get the steps in. I'll tell you what, while we're doing this, let's just go ahead and show what, oh. Sorry, I'm gonna show you what the check mark looks like, because they're gonna need that when they're building out the app. Now, if I made this yellow as well, it kind of would get confusing with that delineator on the right side here. So I'm gonna make this just basically a yellow check mark. So it's kind of inverted in a way. Round, fit the style, bump up the border radius, and then we have a good check mark there so that they can use that when they're shopping for their stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll just get started on the steps, and if we run out of time, then we'll do that then. Instructions. A lot of these instructions will pretty much be, just from experience, it'll be just a big block of text. So we'll just go ahead and make this regular. I like to make the size of the text box specific, and then I'm just gonna dump in some lorem ipsum.
Of course. And if anyone out there does not have one of those fancy applications that John was just using, there is a lorem ipsum plugin within Adobe XD.
How do you get to that?
You go to Discover Plugins, and I think you just search lorem ipsum. Bam.
There you go. I'm gonna install it. I've used this other plugin for a long time, so this.
What's your favorite lorem ipsum?
What comes to mind first is actually lorem ipsum images, and it's Phil Murray.
Oh, okay.
It's you know, it's lorem ipsum for images,
Right.
and it's Phil Murray. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Bacon Ipsum.
Oh,
and
Bacon, yeah.
Cupcake Ipsum is also good. And someone recently introduced me to Hipster Ipsum.
Hipster ipsum.
Hipster Ipsum.
Oh, that one would be a good one.
Yeah. All right, so when you're finished with that, we're gonna
Yeah.
hop over and take a look at some challenge submissions.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. All righty. Here we go. So we have, looks like 4 challenge submissions. This one I believe is from Robbie. And these super cute.
Very cool.
Yeah. I love the animations. And
Yeah, the animation is great.
time transitions that are coming in here.
This is all done in XD, which is really cool.
And it's all, we're looking at this on the web right now, so it's all, all the animations are working.
I love the shape of those images there.
Yeah, it's
Brings a bit of
interesting. You
character
don't
there.
see this very often.
Right.
Let's see, what can we click on? Is there anything that we can click on?
pets.
Pets. All right.
Very cool. The images help a lot with that navigation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I am noticing from time to time there are some areas where, let's see if it does it again. That right there. That's usually because you're transitioning between artboards where the layer names don't exactly line up properly. So make sure to check your layer names, your group names, and sometimes even the stacking order affects it. Not always, but sometimes it does. So make sure to check that. Where else can we click? Can we click anywhere else? I'm imagining we can probably click somewhere because there's a lot of artboards going on.
I'm sure the outputs are for the sliders too.
Yeah.
One thing that stands out to me, and this is something that I struggle with on mine, is just the typography of all caps typography.
Right.
It actually creates it makes it harder to read if it's not a heading. Like the treat your pet like a rock star. I had to lean in a little bit closer to that. But when you have all caps in like Iggy Pop, that's great. It really brings some character to it instead of it just being standard. So
I agree. Yeah. What do you think of that? There's like this very subtle border on this button. Do you think it's necessary or?
I probably, to keep it consistent with the icons on the top right, I would say it probably is not.
Okay.
But it's not necessary. But if the art direction eventually ends up in that direction,
yeah, it's possible it might be necessary here because the red on blue doesn't always play well.
Yeah.
But in this case, here it probably wouldn't be.
It blends in a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, very fun, very playful.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that was it. All right. Next, we've got
Very
Ayub.
cool.
This one, Petty Love. Cool. Let's see. This is nice down here.
Yeah, I love the layout in general.
Yeah.
Kind of like got this little sidebar for the video, and the see all. I see the see all button on the bottom.
That
was
Let's
cool.
go back and see that
Yeah,
again. Yeah, there's a see all button down here. Doesn't
stand out as much.
do anything. But I would imagine that would show you more pets. And there it is.
There you go. Love the animation.
That was kind of fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat toys. Oh.
Oh, cool.
Cat food.
That auto animate just makes things so fun.
Yeah, and I would imagine when you press on that, the products at the bottom would change. It looks like just these 3 artboards.
Navigation's very clear. That's great,
Yeah.
especially with this type of layout.
I can just do this all stream.
I'll just stay here.
Okay.
Stay there. Keep doing it.
Awesome. Next we've got, I believe this was Kristen. Nice.
Oh yeah. Did we see this one yesterday?
We may have.
Yeah.
I think we saw this one and also the next one. Next one was from Nils. We saw this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's cool.
Yeah. Maybe Kristen made some updates. Let's see. Oh, remember yesterday there was an issue where we weren't able to see.
Yeah.
Let's see if it does that again. So we added it to the cart. I think when we pressed on this, it.
There you go.
Okay.
Very cool.
Things are happening.
It's a very good flow for the checkout.
Yeah, I love the way things are kind of boxed and modular. Is there anything on this screen we can click on? Oh, save and continue. Okay, that was a fancy little, very subtle animation. Same with that one there.
Very cool.
There we go. Save and continue. Now you can press the button. Boop.
Very cool.
Nice. And you can go back to the beginning. Continue shopping.
That's a great flow, especially from UX perspective.
Yeah. Love it. All right, now the final one. We did actually take a look at this one yesterday, but it was really nice.
That ring at the top is
Oh wait,
new.
he made some changes.
Yeah.
So based on some of our feedback, remember the buttons, or they didn't look like buttons. They just look like, who you worked with type of thing. But now they look like buttons.
Yeah. Definitely improved.
Yeah. Menu.
In the menu, I remember there being like a little line under it just to help make sure it's clickable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great job, Nils, at taking some of the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a look. Let's see. Deli shop. Again, making me hungry.
Mm-hmm. It's about that time.
Yeah. It even you even brought the line over here as well. Just making sure things are consistent.
Yeah, I mean, just a great improvement on the call to actions for sure.
Yeah. Back up. Oh, that's cool. Back up to the top.
Yeah, cool.
Nice. Anything else that we can click on? Upcoming events.
Oh, nice cards. I like that.
Yeah, these are nice. It's a long website, but it's good.
It's good.
Got a lot of good information on
Yeah.
there. I'm sure I'm missing something. Let's go down one more time just to make sure. We saw upcoming events. We saw back to top, back to top. I think we got everything.
Yeah.
Oh, more about us. Did we see that? No, we didn't. Nice.
It's good to have a one page probably every once in a while that's just very standard.
Totally.
It helps with things.
Yep.
That's a compliment for sure.
Nice. All right.
Cool.
Awesome job.
Yeah, great.
All right, let's hop back over to your screen.
Okay.
Finish up.
Yeah,
Get some instructions and steps in there.
perfect. So basically, yeah, just some basic instructions. Nothing too crazy. We'll kind of space this out a bit better here. And let's just see what that looks like scrolling, because it looks a bit interesting with the little bar there.
Yeah.
So just for presentation purposes.
Yeah,
let's
just get rid
it.
of it.
Yeah. Where was that? Where is it? There we go. So instructions. Whoa, caps lock. Instructions.
Very angry instructions.
Okay. So that's fairly good for now. We'll come back to that and kind of tweak it. Of course, doing iterative design, you might come back and continue work on it
course.
even after it launches. So
Even several years later,
exactly.
something's going to bother you and you're going to go back. You're going to be trying to sleep one
That's
night.
true.
And you think, you know that design I did 4 years ago on Adobe Live? Wasn't feeling the yellow.
Got to fix that or I cannot sleep.
It's 4 in the morning, you're just like tweaking the yellow. Go to bed, John.
Okay, so let's, now that we got that, let's go ahead and start kind of animating some of this. Of course, we've got all these different things going on already. We got each of these. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and, I'm trying to think what would be most beneficial here. Let's animate from this page in this category over to here. And let's just give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Auto animate. Not too bad.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna need a back button. See, that's
Yeah.
helpful, especially when you get
Right.
prototyping. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna need
What do you
that.
think about the speed? Do you think it was too quick, too slow?
Probably a little too quick.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I probably want to clean up with like this banner here.
Right.
It kind of just like faded out. And it might be cool if it's shrunk or something. So we'll need to copy that over as well.
Chris Cannon's here, late as always. Welcome, Chris. He was a guest on.
Yes,
Adobe
we
Live.
started following each other on Twitter yesterday.
Oh, there you
so
go.
There you go. So let's go ahead and make that an outline text. Well, it probably wouldn't work well with auto animate. So let's do this. Let's just make this go up here and we'll fade this out a little bit so it moves. And that goes under the logo.
Chris, I'm actually powered by Adobe Sensei. He told me to blink so people know I'm not a robot.
Oh.
I might be.
You might be.
Yeah, Adobe created me.
All right, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, oh yeah, we're gonna need the back button. Let's go ahead and pop over to Illustrator. I can do that much faster in Illustrator just from experience. So we're gonna copy this style right there. Make that rounded, and we'll do a little line. Let's group that. And So we'll move that over here, and we're going to expand that so that we can import it. All right, I have a decent back button.
Graphy, let me know what you mean by that. He says another feature, linked symbols to have one direction artboard. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but we do have a symbols update coming. So I want to make sure that I understand exactly what that means.
Cool, so there's the back button. Let's just see what this looks like now that we've incorporated it a bit more. Yeah, too fast, and we'll need to animate.
A little too fast, not terrible.
Not terrible. Let's do 0.6 seconds, auto animate on tap. For this one, where am I? Going here. I'm gonna make this one 6.6 seconds as well. All right, let's give that one a try. Okay, so the logo's not working that well.
Right.
But it looks like
the stacking order is throwing things off a little bit.
Yeah, stacking order, and I'd like for that logo to actually shrink.
And it might be a touch slow. Maybe like right in between at 0.4 seconds.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and change that here. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. That feels a little better as far as speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would love for this to kind of, let's see, let's do arrow. We're gonna make this one kind of just slide out a bit too. Got 3 different things we got going on here. We got to get this arrow working. We need to make the logo transition much better. So generally I'll just kind of ungroup that and name them specifically here. So we have the word mark.
Oh, because it was a symbol. Well, soon you won't have to worry about that. So you'll be able to keep it as a symbol, you'll be able to resize it and override it, and it will animate.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh yeah, as Chris said, hashtag 19 is coming.
That's a good hashtag.
It is. Chris didn't make it up. Wasn't his. Doesn't Casey takes credit for
He
it.
takes credit for it.
I believe, who was it? Was it Sharif, maybe? I think he did that one.
Word mark, matching up the names here, container. I just like to double, make sure that even inside of it that everything looks the same. Container, there we go. So let's see, maybe, there we go.
Aha. That looks good.
So I like the arrow coming out, but it's a little too standard, I guess. Not standard, but a little too subtle. I'd like for it to move a little bit more. There we go. There you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's looking good.
So we'll, you know what? I also want this logo to kind of animate back. Let's say that goes back towards this. Chairs, balsa. There we go. So,
Fancy.
You could spend extra time going through all these little details and figuring out like this browse project is the most recent, that kind of just fades out.
Right.
It'd be nice if that just kind of fades out while it's moving with things. But we'll move on to some other stuff here. Let's do the search.
And with auto animate and things like that, do you find yourself paying attention, maybe keeping it in the back of your mind as you're designing each artboard, knowing that eventually you're going to start animating some of these things?
I try to.
Yeah.
It's certainly helpful. I generally do, yeah. So we'll say this is just text. That's placeholder. This will be text. We'll want to replace that. Text. This is input and icon. So icon and input. All right. Now I'm keeping in mind that this keyboard, this placeholder for the keyboard actually slides up from the bottom. So let's go ahead and put this in here and slide it down, and we'll fade it out at the same time. Let's just see what this would look like if we auto animate that.
And for those working on similar projects who need keyboards, you can grab a keyboard in the iOS or Android UI kits, which you can find under the File menu, Get UI Kits, and then you can choose one of those. and use them as overlays, which is pretty nice.
Let's do this. We'll make this. The little row of things is kind of coming in. It was coming in weird, so we're gonna try this again. Let's see what this looks like. It works. I think the logo could actually fade away, so let's do that as well.
Oh yeah. And once a keyboard's actually in there, it'll look a little bit better.
Yeah. There you go. Filling it.
Yeah.
We could probably make this extra long here.
Chris has been using XD since Project Comet. We were talking about that earlier.
Oh yeah, cool.
It's come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this year it's going to be pushed even further.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah. Last year was good with auto animate and a bunch of other things. I honestly think this year will be just as good, if not better, based on from what I've seen.
Cool.
Oh yeah. What font are you using?
Helvetica, I think.
Helvetica.
Oh, is it or is it? I think some of them are. Yep. Helvetica.
There you go, Mark. Helvetica.
Can never go wrong with Helvetica, really.
You can't.
Let's see here. I think that's feeling a bit better. Nah, a little animation problem, but
It happens.
so show me how to get that UI kit.
Oh yes, go to File, and then Get UI
there you
Kits,
go.
and then go to Apple iOS, and you'll be taken to Apple's website. Scroll down, there's an XD, bam, right there.
There we go. Perfect.
Yep, shouldn't take very long. Go, go, go.
Oop, we're gonna continue downloading. All right, iOS.
There it is.
Production templates, UI design templates and guides. I don't know.
I think the second one,
The second one?
possibly. I think they've changed it since.
So we got iPhone 10.
And then in there should be a
Nice little
lovely
keyboard.
Look at that.
Where is it?
Down
There
the
we go.
bottom.
There we
Yep.
go. Keyboard, alphabetic.
Yep, and it does come over a symbol, so it will be linked. You can obviously unlink it if you want. But if you place that, you do it there as, in this case, it would probably make sense to put it on that second artboard, but if you weren't worried about additional animations and things like that, you can put it on its own artboard and use it as an overlay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and make that work then. Let's go over here, delete that. Make that slide in from the bottom. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what's going on here. Keyboard. Oh, it didn't show up in there.
Oh, it got pushed to the
Yep.
the paste board. If you want to make sure that it doesn't do that, if you group it with something that's also on that that artboard, it'll stay there.
Gotcha.
It looks like you got it. You're good.
Yeah. I think that'll work. Let's give it a shot and see. There you go.
Fancy.
Cool.
Nice.
Boom. All right. One last thing that we could do is actually just make all these things link to the individual screens.
Yep.
So we will go transition, and we're going to make it slide left.
Slide to the left.
Slide to the left.
Mark is asking, is this a wireframe? What would you consider this?
I would not consider a wireframe.
Okay.
Generally for me, my wireframes, I like to use just black and white.
Yeah. So it's more in the lines of hi-fi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do plans. All right, now we're gonna need that back button here as well. I'm gonna copy that, paste it over here. We'll say this we'll just take this one back to the main screen. slide right. All right, let's give it a shot.
Cool.
There you go.
That's looking good.
We got the search. And then we got the count.
Nice.
There
I
we
know
go.
nothing about woodworking, but I would use this application.
Well, hopefully it'd be a good place to teach it. So.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
We've got about 5 minutes left if you want to
5 minutes
tackle
left.
one more thing, or...
Is there anything that somebody would like to see on it?
Oh, yeah, leave your suggestions. If there's something missing from this application or something else that you'd like to see John cover.
We could improve these this text on here in the meantime. You know, we have these delineators for items, but we could also use them for actual instruction counters. Where am I? There we go. So now we have one.
Chris is saying mask animation is missing. I think we did kind of talk about the where we were filtering by most recent,
Yes.
doing like a little bit of an animation there.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you can
do that.
possibly do that. If you make a mask over top of it and then...
Let's do. I have an idea that I'd like to try actually.
Oh, okay.
So.
And while you're doing that, Mark has another question. Do you create design style first before you start designing the hi-fi?
It depends. Sometimes.
Okay. Sometimes.
Not helpful. Not helpful answer, but sometimes.
Sometimes. It's the answer of a designer.
I just want to. Yeah, sometimes.
I hope that helps, Mark.
Let's do prototype. We'll just take. Let's see, where are we? Most recent. We'll take this one over here. Auto animate. I want to see what this looks like. It's basically just kind of fading it in. Okay. Let's go back over here. I'm trying to adjust the scale a little bit. Let's just see what that looks like. Maybe.
Yeah, and if you want to get fancy, you can do an animated mask.
Show me how to do that.
Okay. So go on that one. Select the rectangle in the back.
Like this one?
In the most recent pop-up.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Select that rectangle, duplicate it, put it at the top of this stack right there. Select all those layers, go to Object,
And mask.
and Mask with Shape. And if you're on Windows, you would just right-click on that stack.
Gotcha.
And then do that. And then leave it at that for this one. So now copy it, paste it on the other artboard.
Gotcha.
And then
okay.
grab the mask, the first shape, and then move it, scale it up. So it's basically hiding everything.
Oh, like this.
No, just right there on the bottom. Yeah. And
Oh,
you
I
can
see.
probably just go all the way up if you want to. There you go. And then give that a shot. See what happens.
Let's do it. Cool.
Yeah. It moved over a little bit, but
Yeah.
you just make sure everything's lined
Yeah.
up. But
Very cool.
fancy.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's gonna probably
Cool.
do it for day 2 with John and myself.
Awesome.
John did all the hard work. I just sat here and blabbed away. But thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Stick around. We've got Melody and Camille coming up in just a few minutes, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with the Daily Creative Challenge. And John and I will be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So we'll see you all later, and thanks for hanging out.
Cool. See ya.